Time for part two of our three-part series on how to spend your remodeling money. Real estate expert Rick Sadle with Keller Williams Realty and SadleRealEstate.com is with us. Rick, hello there.
Hey, good morning.
All right, last week we went over stuff to do if you're about to sell your house. This week we're talking about just things that make you and your family feel good, right? So what kind of projects come to mind as far as remodels or anything along those lines that just give you joy?
Yeah, I mean, this is a totally different story than last week, right? When people spend money on remodeling the house for themselves, they spend it in a totally different way. We talked last week about getting the house ready for sale, and like remodeling your primary suite or adding a primary suite doesn't, is not something you can do to net more money in a sale. Yet, according to this report I read by National Association of Realtors, that's exactly where they spend it, right? Apparently, it's the number one way of remodeling your house to get joy out of it. Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? You spend a lot of time in your primary bedroom, so you get a lot of joy from having a nice one.
Oh, sure. Maybe knock out an interior wall and try to turn it into a much larger space with a big bathroom.
I mean, for sure. I mean, I guess it depends on how much joy you want, right? Do you want 800 square feet of joy or do you want 400? Actually, it usually comes down to cost, right? The more you vary from the original design, the more it's going to cost, right? If you add roof structures or modify your foundation. And in general, my advice is, and people don't always follow it when they're doing it for themselves, but don't spend more money than the neighborhood can support, right? Don't try and make your primary bedroom so nice that you're not going to get any more money than the house down the street.
Okay. Short of going into their primary suite and looking at it for yourself, you just got to estimate that maybe. But that's
Right.
yeah, right. We spend a lot of time in the kitchen, don't we? Upgrades there that give us joy. What do you got there, Rick?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the second place we spend the most time, right? Sleeping and eating. That's also number two on the report that brings joy is the kitchen. But I would say that don't overspend on the kitchen, right? Same reason, people do, but you probably shouldn't.
Okay. How about outside things we can do? Outside space.
Yeah, I mean, on that same report, the number three was the roof, which was kind of surprising. I'm not sure what brings joy about roofs, but I
Okay.
guess maybe it's the feeling of safety, right? We had a leak in our primary suite roof a couple months ago, and I spent $10,000 getting it fixed. Didn't bring me joy, but I guess it did feel like it checked something off right my list, right? Something I didn't have to worry about for the next 20 years. So I guess that's a form of joy.
Okay. Or maybe just a small little gazebo, just something to hang out with outside. But you're right about the roof. That
Right.
That's great stuff. This is part two of our part three series on home upgrades. Last week, it was about getting ready to put your house on the market. This week, we're talking about just things that make us feel good. And next week, Rick, we'll talk about bang for your buck with value down the road with your home investments. Appreciate your time, sir.
Yeah, thanks.
That's Rick Sadle, real estate expert with Keller Williams Realty and SadleRealEstate.com.